It is like 9 o'clock right now. I just got off work and I'm about to drive to Dallas to go stay the night at my brother's house because I have a flight in the morning to Arizona. Up until like 20 minutes ago when I got home from work, I was planning to bring Clockwork Angel, which is the book I'm currently working through right now. This is the book that Daisy, who's in my book club, picked for me to read in the month of January. And then I was also going to bring Voices in the Snow. I was finally going to start reading this after I read this because this is so bingeable so far. My first Cassandra Clare book ever. And when I tell you I'm binging it, I mean I'm binging it. The writing is so good. My Kindle is lighter. And also it was a real struggle for both books to fit in the book sleeve that Emily made for me. So I'm gonna bring my Kindle. I don't know what book I'm gonna start after Clockwork Angel. Remember in my vlog a bit ago, it was probably like 2 weeks ago by the time this video is coming out, where I was reading Under Lock and I was like, I really wanna get a tattoo. I really did message my tattoo artist and they got me in for this week. So I got a $100 ticket to Arizona. I'm gonna be staying with my friend. My flight to Arizona is in the morning at 9 a.m. So see you guys in the morning. I'm about to go get my tattoos. I'm getting 3 different pieces. That's the plan. Might get more. We'll see. We're gonna start with 3. I'm doing a little vampire-esque thing on my arm because we all know how much I love vampires. I'm getting the phrase, wait for it. That's a given why I'm getting that. And then I'm also getting a new moon. Not a new moon, but like we're getting rid of the moon on my hand, so we're adding a moon onto my leg where the rabbit is. My tattoo artist also has a lot of cute flash available. Let me show you my favorite. This is currently my favorite. And then also this one. If they have any availability for tomorrow, I might get more than what was planned. I need to update you guys on Clockwork Angel later tonight because I read 100 pages on the plane and I'm obsessed. There's not too much light in her apartment. I'm not about to turn on the overhead light out there. That's the only option. So I'm gonna bring you in the bathroom and show you my tattoos that I got. I'll back up, don't worry. So first, well, let's make this a little better. I'll show you the top and then I'll show you the bottom. Got this one. It's like a little vampire-esque rendition. I love it. I love it so much. And then I also got, wait for it, written. I was a little skeptical about how close I decided to put that next to my candles, but honestly, it works. I wanted it to be seen head on, and I feel like I just don't have a lot of like space to really work with on my arm right there. So dainty and frail. I'm gonna blow away in the wind. Didn't mean for it to be like that, but it was either put it like here or put it there. And you know what? I plan to add more to my arm anyways. We love. And that, not to be dramatic or anything, but that's like my favorite thing ever. And then on my leg, I got a moon added around my rabbit. So we added some stars, nothing too crazy. It looks really, really cohesive with the rabbit. This artist also did my rabbit. Hey, so who was gonna tell me that this is incredible? Thank you, Daisy. Everybody say thank you, Daisy, for getting me into reading this masterpiece. I am almost 300 pages into the book, and when I tell you it is so bingeable, it is so bingeable. It's just a fantasy book too. there is a little bit of like romance I think that's gonna happen. Also, why is everybody DMing me on Instagram saying this is gonna absolutely ruin you? Come back when you're done. Hope you're well when you finish the series. Now I'm scared. Now I'm like actually kind of scared. I just read this part where Tessa went to go take care of Will, who I'm assuming there's gonna be a little bit of romance between the two of them. Tessa is the FMC of the book. Will, this is like mostly fantasy, so I don't want to say he's like the MMC, but he's playing a little bit of a vital role in everything that's happening. Tessa goes over to London from America to try and find her brother. Her brother's been living there for a bit. Immediately when she gets over there, she's taken by these like dark sisters, and they kind of hold her captive and make her show her powers that she has. And she, come to find out, she thought she was just a human, a normal ass girl. Come to find out she's not a normal ass girl. She's a girl with powers, and she can shapeshift into different people, which is incredible. But she's stuck and held captive with these people, and she just came over there to find her brother. She was supposed to be married off to this man called the Magister. And they said, you're gonna be his wife. And she said, no, but then she got rescued. So the group of individuals that comes to save her, they're called shadow hunters. Everybody who has read the series or read the series that was created before this, the 6-book series, they're going to be like, Heather, you say shadow hunters like you have no idea what you're talking about. I, right now, have no idea what I'm talking about. The shadow hunters, to me, are a group of individuals who all have individual power, and they're like fighting to keep the peace and keep people safe and keep the demons at bay. That's all I know right now. As Tessa is drawn deep into a plot that threatens to destroy the shadow hunters, she realizes that she may need to choose between saving her brother and helping her new friends to save the world. The magical element of this book, very good. Very good. Her ability to shapeshift into different people has already just benefited her in so many ways. So it was interesting how at the beginning of the book, it was this big scary thing, and then she kind of like comes into her power. She comes into her power. I'm also listening to Vengeful by V.E. Schwab because I bought that audiobook back in December when they were having their sale on Audible. I ended up DNFing Winter People. I think Winter People is the type of book that I need to physically read. Like, I need to pick up the physical book. I own it. I need to pick it up rather than listening to it. But if you watch my last video, I was saying how I started the audiobook for Winter People because I needed to use my Spotify credits for audio. The narrator makes it insufferable. And if I hear the name Gertie one more time, I'm gonna go crazy. So I soft DNF'd that book, fully DNF'd the audio version of it. I'll finish reading it eventually. I got 60% in. Plotline was really good. Audio narration was just insufferable for me. Ended up starting Vengeful. This is the book that comes after Vicious. Vicious is another fantasy book that I read last year, and I absolutely, surprisingly loved it. That's one of those books where I think if the two main characters would have kissed, they're both like asexual in my brain. Or aromantic in my brain. But if the two male main characters would have just kissed, I think all problems would have been solved. Victor from that book, really the main character, I love him. And not in like a he's hot, I'm attracted to him kind of love him way. More in a way that I can't even fully describe. Like, I am in love with him. But I also just really like him as a person. The found family aspects that we got to see in Vicious were my favorite. You really get to see Victor kind of just take in these individuals, and that's carried on into Vengeful. I didn't read the summary of it. I thought I would just go in blind because I was like, you know what, it's okay. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I'm 4 hours into it, and I still don't really get the direction of the book quite yet, but that's okay because it's kind of one of those audiobooks where I don't even care if there's a plot. It's just comforting to hear about the characters that are within it. Especially Sydney, one of the girls that Victor kind of takes in because she doesn't have anybody because of her powers, kind of left her as an outcast. Watching him, and what's the other guy's name? Mitch. Them all be like a little family. Like, there's issues between them, but they're there for each other, and it's just really refreshing to listen to. I'm gonna read this for a little bit. I'm on page 292. I'm going to try to read one more chapter tonight. Oh, there's chapter 13. Where's chapter 14? I'm really not going to read much more because I was at the tattoo shop for 6 hours and I need to go to bed. soon. My friend Sarah is about to come back from work. We'll probably watch an episode of Love Island All Stars and then go to bed. I'm gonna read probably another 20 pages, get to chapter 14. Done. What am I gonna read on the plane? No, actually. What am I gonna read on the plane? I probably should not have finished that, but I could not stop reading it. I need to leave for my flight here in a couple hours. I wasn't planning on finishing this. Couldn't put it down. And here we are. I also already have the second and the third book in my Barnes & Noble carts online, so I can get them when I get home. It was incredible, and I can't wait to finish the series. I'm gonna jump into it as soon as I get the books. I can't really tell you, or it's gonna spoil it. Like every fantasy book, there's darker forces at work. I will say the Magister is the bad guy in this book, who is kind of coming after Tessa, the main character, and wants her and needs her for her ability. Her ability is she can shapeshift into anyone. The Magister being who they were made sense. It made a lot of sense. I can see 14-year-old me being even more obsessed with this book. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. It's a 4.5-star read for me. It was really good. And honestly, I can see how people keep saying this is the blueprint for a lot of these fantasy books that keep coming out, because it seems very much like a blueprint. I know 14-year-old me would have eaten this the f up. 25-year-old me, still eating it up. Both Will and Jem, I love them in their own ways. Will, I know there's more to him. He's kind of like the MMC a little bit, because there is a little bit of romance in this book, but also not really. Like, there's some underlying romance, but this is a 3-book series, so obviously nothing came to a conclusion in this book. After finishing it, I know I should be like, Will, but I just keep sitting here thinking, oh my god, he's so misunderstood. Like, he's just hurting inside. Give him a chance. We just need to give him a chance. I don't know anything about this series, so he could potentially be an awful person. And I'm over here like, there's more to him. There's more to Will. Jem, sweetie baby. I love him. I want to give him a kiss on the cheek. I want to give him a piggyback ride. Like, I love him so much. I also really love his backstory. Jem has this illness, and hearing his backstory of how he got that illness and what happened to his family with the demons was just really fascinating. I love that there's like demons. I was telling you guys I plan to read the second book as soon as I get it in the mail, but actually I do want to ask, should I put a pause on finishing this trilogy and go start this 6-book series by Cassandra Clare? Because when I told everybody that I was reading this book, everybody said, hey, stop and go read this series first. Should I put a pause on the series and actually go read all of this first? Let me know. Tell me right now not to buy these editions of Vicious and Vengeful from, what is it, Waterstone? Watermark? The UK editions of Vicious and Vengeful, I'm obsessed with them. And I don't own Vengeful, like I don't own a physical copy of Vengeful. And then Vicious, the only copy that I own is the old edition, which stays up here. I got it off Pingo Books last year. Fit. You know what? I'll put it back later. The way V.E. Schwab writes her fucking characters makes me feel so connected to them. A lot of people said you don't need to read Vengeful, reading Vengeful isn't worth it. That is something that I've heard continually ever since I mentioned that I read Vicious. And I like slightly agree with that. Like, I don't think you need to read Vengeful, even though there is gonna be a third book, so it's good. Like, it's good. It's definitely not as good as the first one. Different plot line, similar, but also different at the same time. I just love these characters too damn much, I don't even care. I don't even care. Like I was saying earlier, there didn't even need to be a plot in this book for me to enjoy it. V.E. Schwab just writes these characters in a way that just makes me feel like they're my family. I just want to know everything about them. She could honestly write Victor's grocery list and I'd be like, okay, tell me why he chose to get apples. Earlier today, V.E. Schwab posted a fan art of Victor Doll and Sydney, and I need this fan art on my wall. I need to get a print of this fan art ASAP. The thing that I like the most about this fantasy, or this type of fantasy, I don't know, what is the exact name of this type of fantasy? Urban fantasy? It's like set in the real world, but there's fantasy elements to it. That's my favorite. There's a reason why I loved the Maze Runner series so much growing up, because even though that would never happen, like the Maze Runner situation would never happen, it just also felt so real world and a little bit urban. People are like, what books did you read as a child? Bitch, I read the Maze Runner series about 17 times. That's it. It says it's science fantasy. That's literally like all it says. But you get what I'm trying to say. It's not like fairies and dragons and woo. It's like real-ish people, just with like some magical elements.